Hey guys, welcome back to Foreign Reacts. I hope you guys are having a good day, and we're going to be checking out a lot of videos for Italy next month. I think that's going to be May. I think the next month after whatever we're in right now will be May. But the point is, we're going to be doing a series for May, like the series that we're currently doing for the Netherlands. Actually, today we're going to be checking out the Netherlands, digging deep into the Dutch economy. So economy is a very important thing for life. It's very important, right? So that's where a lot of things stem from. So it's very important to know about that. So we're going to be checking out that video today. But I just want to say, if you're Italian and you're watching this, please do share the videos so your Italian buddies can actually come on board here at Foreign Reacts and enjoy these wonderful reaction videos and have a beautiful time here. So if you're not subscribed and you're watching this video for the first time here at Foreign Reacts, do subscribe and leave a like on the video, man, and let's have a blast together. But either ways, guys, let's get right into this video.
Known for windmills, tulips, tall people, and stealing the land from the sea, the Netherlands is among the top 20 biggest economies in the world and a GDP per capita of over $50,000. If you are Dutch, don't forget to share your opinions in the comment section below. The geographic location of the country is both its best and worst feature. Best because it serves as a European trade hub. Worst because a quarter of the country is below sea levels. But the country's non-stop battle against water has made it an expert in water management, dredging, and flood protection. It is truly exceptional to see how the Dutch managed all the delta works, dams, dikes, and polders. It's a story of remarkable engineering and human resilience from which the world could learn a lot, considering the rising sea levels is a topic of concern for many countries. The Dutch are highly individualistic. There is this topic that individualistic societies are more likely to gain economic success collectively, but it's debatable. On the other hand, the government traditionally had a higher regulatory role in the economy. The government's economic interventions were significantly reduced back in the 1980s when market economy was professed worldwide. This resulted in considerable privatization as well as the restructuring of welfare programs. Nonetheless, it remains highly regulated but still a market economy. In fact, it is arguably often referred to as the birthplace of modern capitalism. Forget about Amazon, Apple, Google, and so on. Back in the 17th century, the Dutch East India Company, also known as the VOC, was the...
Yeah, because the exactly what he's going to talk about right now, I know that you guys were mad. You know, that's how I actually learned about, what do you say, the independence recognition with America, how you guys helped in that situation. First country to actually recognize the American independence, I think. And that was wild because it was the important and I don't remember what it's called, but the point is it has a lot to do with the sea. The ports.
Most valuable company of all times. It did commit many atrocities and misused its powers with colonialism.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it formalized many modern-day economic principles that serves as a blueprint for modern-era corporations. It was not...
I like how he actually spoke about that because a lot of people don't speak about it like that, and that's the form of understanding that you can understand. Like a lot of people just speak about colonial, whatever, that word. Like, oh my gosh, they just wanted to just hate you. No, most of these people who did what they did, they only wanted superiority. They wanted to be powerful, and there's a thing called understanding, and once you are able to put yourself in somebody's situation and understand why they did what they did, you'll be a very happy person because you won't be focused on what they did to you. You'll be focused on why they did it to you. And it's really important to understand from other people's perspective. That's just how I see life. And I guess probably that's why my beliefs is not really appreciated by a lot of people because I just see things differently, kind of crazy.
Until the late 1700s that they were replaced by the British as the world's leading trading nation.
Right.
The tradition of being merchants and traders carries on as the country's economy continues to be highly dependent on foreign trade. But there are many lessons one could learn from the economic history of the Netherlands.
Tulipmania.
Tulips were introduced into Europe from Turkey after 1550. The vibrantly beautiful flowers became immensely popular. Infected by a virus, some varieties of tulips showed varied patterns. As the rich sometimes collect rare items like paintings for ridiculous prices, many wealthy individuals began to collect and display these rare tulips. The demand for mixed-colored tulips exceeded the supply, and prices of these rare bulbs skyrocketed. In early 1600, a single bulb of a new variety was satisfactory as dowry for a bride, or as a payment for a thriving brewery in France. The madness reached its peak in Holland during 1633 to 1637. Many people thought that the whole of Europe and possibly the whole world would want to own tulips. The prices elevated to an extent that a single flower was priced more than some houses. While trades were done as cash for the bulbs, many bulbs were sold and resold as a future contract without even leaving the ground. Eventually, the madness ended in 1637 with a drastic collapse in prices and many losing their fortunes. Tulip mania, often described as the first recorded...
That's what happens when you invest into something psycho, bro. Like, imagine a tulip valuing more than a house. Let's say your house values like $150,000, or let's be real. Okay, let's be real. You can get a house for like $50,000, right? And you have a tulip and you invest your money in tulips, bro. Like, something so fragile, I would never do that. Like, no matter how much I love something, I could not invest my money in something that fragile. Like, even stocks, all of these stocks, fragile. Bitcoin, fragile, very fragile.
Speculative bubble is a perfect example of how people forget how much of an intrinsic value an asset holds. They bought more and more in hopes to sell them later for profits. It may seem silly to buy a tulip for, let's say, $1 million, but if you believe you can sell it for $2 million after a certain time, then it just seems like a very reasonable decision as well as a rational investment. This is known as the greater fool theory. Some people have compared tulip mania with numerous economic bubbles, including Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, while others oppose the similarities between the two with different sets of arguments. Recently, some historians have highlighted that tulip mania was highly exaggerated and not many people were involved in it. But these history corrections were only meant to emphasize that tulip mania arguably didn't impact the rest of the Dutch economy. Tulip mania is a cautionary tale of how speculative bubbles are generated. It shows our irrational biases. It shows our tendency to get carried away with anything. Then they collapse and we move on to find a new madness, and the pattern repeats.
Facts. I had no idea about Dutch disease. In 1959,
the discovery of natural gas in Groningen had a huge positive impact on the Dutch economy. This discovery was as important for the Netherlands as oil for Norway or banks for Switzerland. While natural gas helped the Dutch economy stretch its wings, it also negatively impacted the overall economy. Now, if this sounds like a paradox, then you are right, because that's what it is. The Dutch disease, a term coined in 1977 by The Economist, highlighted a relationship between the economic growth of one sector compared to the decline in other sectors. The growing sectors are usually natural resources, but not limited to them, while the other sectors could be manufacturing and agriculture. The Netherlands began exporting natural gas, but when the revenue started pouring in, the country's currency guilder
Wait. So the Netherlands actually have natural gases? Like, I don't see. Please don't. I seem like I'm a little smart dude. Oh, you're capable of talking about this economy nonsense. But y'all had natural oil, like for real? Gases, I mean, for real?
Appreciate. It happens due to the currency's higher demand in the international market. This may sound good, but it wasn't. The appreciation made the Netherlands' exports become expensive for other countries to purchase, putting pressure on the other sectors. Also, the appreciated currency made the imports more affordable for consumers who started preferring imported items over domestically made products. This resulted in further decline of the local manufacturing industry.
Oh, wow.
The growing sector, with tons of revenue from exports, offers better wages, which pushes the other sectors to pay more to their workers who would otherwise flee towards the growing sector.
Exactly.
But there are only limited people the growing sector could hire. This, along with the decline of other sectors, increases unemployment. Even investors flee towards the growing sector for better profits. The growing sector also brings more revenue for governments, which results in increased government spending that manifests into public infrastructure, military spending, and welfare programs. The welfare programs make the government look good in front of the voters, but if this is done carelessly, it could lead to further issues. For example, if something happens to the growing sector, the welfare programs need to be restructured, which people dislike. The more complex and diverse an economy is, the less likely it is to be impacted by the Dutch disease. The Dutch disease is a result of wealth managed unwisely. The resource curse is real. It shows the riches could be a curse sometimes rather than a blessing. It's a lesson that you shouldn't put all the eggs in one basket.
Digging deep into the Dutch economy. Okay.
The only thing that cheers up a Dutch more than an unexpected discount is if they could get something for free. The bicycle-friendly people are less inclined towards spending money on branded products. They would rather choose a good product that works for little money. Squeezing out the most for less is a preference, but before you call them greedy, you should know that the Netherlands is among the top countries that spend most on development aid per capita as well as a percentage of gross national income. There is this Dutch saying that roughly translates to, just act normal, then you're already acting crazy enough. Not trying to stand out and being content with the normal is the key. This also manifests in people's financial decisions. Also, if you brag about your wealth, the orange-loving people could put you in your place with their stereotypical Dutch straightforwardness and
I don't know why people always be trying to brag about wealth though. Like, when I was younger, like I've always said, I used to wanted to be a billionaire, but bro, like the more I got older, I was like, man, life is for living, bro. Like, why you need all that? Like, nah, bro, you just need to be happy. You know, if you need something, you're able to buy it, but it is what it is, man. Just be happy. And I think the Netherlands is a beautiful place to be happy because that water, it just looks so peaceful when you like look at these people in the park, bro. Like just imagine you're at that park and few steps away from where you're sitting, there's a bunch of waters. You got some ducks in the water and they just going by. Everything's just, I like that.
The Netherlands has one of the highest employment rates, which is a measure of the people employed in the working age population. But what stands out is a huge number of people who works part-time. The country has a flexible working culture. The Dutch are relatively more inclined towards working in the evenings or on the weekends. The Netherlands is among the countries with the lowest income inequality. However, wealth inequality is debatable, although it does bring quite polarized opinions. We do like to add that countries with a big middle-class population usually give an impression of low wealth inequality. But that does not mean there aren't super rich people owning a big chunk of the total wealth.
Always.
Countries with the highest levels of social spending are considered as the welfare states. Public social welfare spending is high in the Netherlands, but it is not among the highest as one would expect, considering they are vocal about their social security and one of the best pension systems. Household debt has reached above 230% of the net disposable income, which is among the highest in the world.
Really?
If there is anything to complain about other than the rainy, windy weather, that would be the high rents in Amsterdam. The Netherlands ranks high on the cost of living index. The Netherlands has a combination of growing elderly population and a low fertility rate which is below the replacement levels. But immigration is a touchy topic in the country. They are less inclined towards more open immigration policies to increase the working age population, like Canada or Australia. The world's oldest profession is fully regulated and legalized by the government. While it provides safety and fixes many issues, it is also a way for the government to tax it instead of letting it drift away as an underground economy. The Netherlands is among the countries with high tax revenue to GDP ratio, which is a share of a country's output that is collected by the government through taxes. The Dutch residents and companies are among the biggest investors in foreign countries. The country is also home to some of the world's biggest companies, including Royal Dutch Shell, Heineken, and Philips. People have high trust in the government. The Netherlands ranks among the least corrupt countries. However, it also ranks among the top 10 list on the Financial Secrecy Index that ranks countries based on their financial secrecy, offshore financial activities, and illegal financial flows, which are all sophisticated terms for saying it's a tax haven. The country also ranks high on the Corporate Tax Haven Index, helping multinational companies to underpay income taxes. It would be interesting to see if the recent EU harmonization tax plan could influence this whole matter.
Okay.
While the country acts like it's virtuous and on the high moral grounds with the clean energy initiatives, the unusual earthquakes are the real reason behind the discontinuation of natural gas extraction. The Netherlands has a vital position in Europe's distribution network with Schiphol Airport, Rotterdam and Amsterdam ports, as well as a connection to the Euro corridors. With warehouses and distribution centers, the Netherlands offers its services to big international corporations to supply their goods to Europe. Rotterdam Port is also called the largest German port due to its significance for the economy of Germany. Being part of the Eurozone, the country's monetary policy is controlled by the European Central Bank. The Dutch economy is more strongly tied to the European Union than the UK, so it has more to lose if it goes towards the same path that the United Kingdom took. You can share your opinion on the possibility of Nexit in the comment section below.
Wait, what? Nexit? That's what you would call a Nexit? Wow, that's wild.
The Netherlands' inclination to adopt technology for agriculture is impressive, but also natural considering it has a high population density. The Dutch agricultural sector is highly mechanized with greenhouses and associated technology geared towards automation and employing the smallest workforce for the maximum output possible. Wageningen University is like the Stanford of agriculture and consistently ranks as number 1. The Netherlands is the second biggest exporter of agricultural products in the world. But if you see rankings of the biggest food producers from different sources, you will notice that the Netherlands is nowhere among the top. Many sources on the internet are linking the value of exports with the innovation happening in the agricultural sector in the Netherlands, and this is false advertising, because many of the exported agricultural products are first imported from other countries, including some countries with low wages, where all kinds of farming techniques are used instead of the high-tech methods used in the Netherlands. Subsidies, as well as high tariffs on cheap food from developing countries, keeps the European Union agricultural sector profitable.
Okay.
A big chunk of agricultural exports include inedible products such as flowers, which are also partly imported from other countries and traded through the Netherlands. However, the country is the European Union's largest meat exporter, with veal and beef exports to Germany, poultry to the United Kingdom, and pork to China. The Dutch can produce more inexpensive pork for China than the Chinese could produce in their own country. Other important exports are dairy and some vegetables.
Okay.
The Dutch high agricultural exports are based on the value and not by volume. They have access to high-paying countries where quality premium-priced products could be sold. There are many other contributing factors that leads to the agricultural success, such as the logistics, warehouses and distribution network, and an ideal port at the crossroads of Europe with access to large markets.
That's right.
Road transport is also comparatively inexpensive, and a homogeneous trade bloc also helps. If you don't have all these benefits, you cannot be as successful as the Netherlands, even if you try to adopt all the fancy equipment and techniques the Dutch agricultural sector is utilizing. The Netherlands is playing with a new theory named donut economics by Kate Raworth, who suggests thinking beyond the traditional economics of infinite growth. The theory is advocating to rise everyone to sufficiency while lowering unsustainable consumption. It sounds more like a proposition for a better management system than a new economic theory, which it is desperately trying to become, packaged into fancy catchwords and morality.
Okay.
Well, we are off to hit some coffee shops. Bedankt for watching the video. We will try to reply to everyone in the comment section below.
That was really beautiful, very informative. Based off of what I've heard in this video, I think the Netherlands are doing pretty darn good economy-wise. So hats off to y'all, man. I don't have a hat, but hats off to you guys, man. But I think you guys are doing pretty well. So keep that up, man. It's mad love when you know a country. It's really inspirational what you guys have done in terms of a lot of things, right? So shout out to all you folks, man. I don't really care how you guys got there. I'm just happy that you guys are there. So all that negativity that I've been hearing, you know, people say about the Netherlands and such and such and such, man, all that's in the past. And you guys are not doing that now. So that's what's important. But either ways, man, I'm out of here. Thanks for being here at Foreign Reacts, man. Peace.